It doesn't matter, or it shouldn't matter what your politics is, which party you suppose and which party you oppose. But when India's sporting championships, women and men who have given this country so much honor and joy, feel the need to go and immerse their medals in the Ganga, we should all hang our heads in shame. This is a tragedy and this is a travesty. And whether you're a BJP supporter or you're a BJP critic, no matter which party you vote for, this should not be happening. And we're still hoping that it won't happen. At this moment, India's wrestlers who have been protesting for more than a month in the heart of the capital in protest against BJP MP and Wrestling Federation of India chief Brij Bhushan Singh are in Haridwar. They are carrying their hard won medals, an Olympics medal and a World Championship medal among them, in their bags, holding them close to their chest, barely able to let go, breaking down in tears as they sit by the banks of the river, getting set to immerse those medals in the river, because they say that although these medals were our life and soul, we do not believe that they have meaning strung around our necks anymore. If you don't know what this story and this controversy is all about, 7 women, including a minor girl, have gone on record to allege sexual abuse by Brij Bhushan Singh, a member of parliament who also has 4 other pending criminal cases against him, who is known to have said on camera once that he has committed one murder, who has in the past been accused of links with Dawood Ibrahim till he was acquitted in that case from a lack of material evidence, who has brazenly slandered the women who have made these serious allegations against him, calling them Manthara, referring to, in the Ramayana, Tikait's domestic help maid, who was known as Manthara, who was cast in the role of a hunchback who sent Lord Ram into exile. As Indians, we should be worried that our sporting championships are sitting by the banks of the river getting set to immerse these medals. But we should also be worried about the silence of most of the sporting fraternity. If I'm not wrong, I can count 3 sporting champions who have spoken in solidarity with what the wrestlers are going through. Abhinav Bindra, Neeraj Chopra, and hours ago, or minutes ago rather, Anil Kumble. To decode what is happening now, let's introduce our guests. Like I said, at least I'm still hoping that somebody is able to talk the wrestlers out of doing this. I don't know what will eventually happen, but they're there with their bags in tears. Rahul Ishwar, commentator and analyst, is with us. Welcome to the program, Rahul. From the Congress, we're joined by Advocate Mahima Singh. It's always good to see you, Mahima. Also joining us is political analyst, has often been a supporter of this government, Gargi Nandi Roy. Does she support their handling of this protest? We'll find out in a moment from now. Also joining us is India's best sports journalist, Sharda Ugra, who on this program yesterday said, stop the kabaddi balancing, arrest Brij Bhushan Singh. A minor girl has accused him of sexual abuse. The law is clear. And also joining us is women's rights activist, Dr. Ranjana Kumari. Good to see all of you. Before we get started, a small clip of what's happening. With the sound up, please, if we can. These wrestlers, their heads down, their faces crestfallen, in tears, as they hold their bags of medals and sit by the banks of the Ganga, getting set to immerse them in the river. Take a look. I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing a scene like this from recent memory from our sporting universe. And I raised a question yesterday on Twitter, would this have happened? Could this have happened if these were not Vinesh Phogat and Sakshi Malik, but these were Virat Kohli and MS Dhoni? Could this have happened? Would this have happened? I don't know. What I do know is Farmers Union's leader, Naresh Tikait, is on his way or has reached, I'm told now, Haridwar. He's trying to persuade, has okay, I'm told he's reached Hardwar, he's meeting the wrestlers, and he's trying to say to them, don't do this. These are your medals. But in a scathing open letter, the wrestlers have said that they thought of returning their medals to the president, but the president didn't intervene when their protest was not allowed on the day that the new parliament house was inaugurated. They thought of returning their medals to the prime minister, but the prime minister, they say, despite his slogans of Beti Bachao, has not intervened, and hence they headed towards the Ganga. Sharda, your thoughts? At this point, the government has clearly decided to let them go ahead and immerse their medals in the Ganga. The police have said they will not stop them. There are other sort of groups that are trying to stop them. What does this moment say if this actually goes through? What does it say to us?
It's terrible, Barkha. It's never happened like this. We're a country that was craving Olympic medals. We didn't have an individual Olympic medal winner for 30 years until 1996, and now we've got a bunch of medalists. We've had our best Olympics the last time they were held in Tokyo. But to see this happening, it is. It's almost like you can't process that this is actually there, because all of us have celebrated whenever an Olympic medal has been won. Sakshi Malik is the only women wrestler to win an Olympic medal for India. And the fact that this is being allowed to go through, it just shows you how determined they are, in a sense, to pass their message on, that listen, you have to listen to what we are saying, and also how heartless the government is. As someone told me today, listen, bodies, you've seen that there were bodies floating down the Ganga and nobody cared. So what difference is a medal is going to make? But as a sports journalist, I think we're all heartbroken that about the letter. Never mind whether the medals actually go into the water or not. Though that letter that they sent out was terrible. They said this country is not for us. What do we mean? What do our lives mean? It's awful.
Yeah, but here would be what the cynics would say, Sharda. They would say if the wrestlers don't go through with this, basically they want it to be stopped, and they will puncture holes in this protest and its moral force, right? And these poor these wrestlers, and this is a video that's gone viral of them packing their medals into a bag. These wrestlers are left with very few choices at this point, Sharda.
Yeah, absolutely right. There is no choice there. I think the wrestlers understood at every level when they said we are going to do this. Do not think of them as not understanding the consequences of what they utter at every point in this protest. They said that we made a mistake in January where we thought something would happen, and we went by the committee, and now we know that nothing was done, that one man was protected. And I think what hurt them the most was to see Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh's photograph and his videos in that new parliament, preening, strutting around. That troubled them. So do not imagine for 1 second that what you are saying is not what has occurred to them about 8 hours before.
Yeah. Ranjana, I just want you to place in context that we're actually talking about one of the 7 women who has complained being a minor. Now, it's been pointed out by supporters of Brij Bhushan Saran, by also critics of this protest, that initially the internal inquiry, as demanded by the Prevention of Sexual Harassment at the Workplace laws, gave a clean chit to Brij Bhushan Saran Singh. But after the protest, a new FIR was registered against Mr. Brij Bhushan Saran Singh, in which one of the 7 complainants is a minor. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that means an automatic arrest under the POCSO law. Ranjana.
It
Can you hear
does.
me? Yeah.
Yes. There is absolutely no question about it that the minor, when it is complaining, has to be, action has to be taken. And that's why that special legal provision was brought in. Now, I have 3 points to make here, Barkha. Number one, that, first of all, what is happening to the center, what is happening to the government, what is happening to the people at large, why it is that government is not paying any attention to this issue. I think if there is a fear of Braj Bhushan Sharan Singh for 2024 election, then I think that's uncalled for, because I mean, there are other leaders in UP. You don't have to depend, and that is why I see there is not a single meeting. Last time also I said on your program, again I want to put it on record, that there is no courage of Ministry of Sports to call him and for questioning him. So that's very clear, and he has not been questioned. Number two, why it is that police is not acting. I mean, police is an independent authority. Police is law enforcement authority. Why, when the case has been registered, POXO case has been registered, why they are not arresting? That would have resolved the problem. Number three, I would like, all common senses to prevail, and this is their own hard work. This is their own blood and sweat. Why should they immerse those for a criminal member of parliament who the whole country knows that he is a criminal? He has so many crimes against him. Why should they put this? I know the fight has been too long. We have all been supporting this fight, but there is a time for it. Let these people sleep over it. Let them put all kinds of cotton in their ear and not hear what wrestlers are saying, but have the patience to fight. I think it's easy saying, but we have fought our own battles, and I think it's important. But at
So you
cost,
believe
at no cost, they should put it into the river. Why? It is their own hard work. It is they have been honored. It is a global recognition. It is not India's recognition to them. It is not this government of India which has given them this recognition. It is Olympic, which is one of the, so first of all, I'm feeling terrible. I really feel
Yeah. We lost Ranjana there, but I think she made the important point that why should the wrestlers do this? Is this a misstep? And I want to actually take that to Rahul, and then Mahima and Gargi, I'll bring you in. Is this a misstep? And Rahul, I know you're a fan of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister could stop this. One statement from the Prime Minister, I believe, would stop this, right?
Barkhaji, two submissions.
And,
One,
and, and
first of
as one of our members, sorry, Rahul Tarun says, why this adamant behavior by the government? Why not just listen to their complaints, or are they waiting for an opportune moment? The government has clearly decided to allow these medals to be immersed, right? For whatever reasons that are inexplicable, because it's one member of parliament whom, by the way, Yogi Adityanath doesn't even like. But even if he did like them, the prime minister could intervene.
Barkhaji, two submissions. One, as an Indian, as a sports lover, it is extremely unfortunate that the step they are going to take. I hope they don't take that step, because it is hard earned. We all applauded them. It is a hard earned lifetime achievement. I hope they don't go with that particular step. I humbly disagree and diverge with the wrestlers on many points. But when we talk to our friends in BJP, and especially the right leaning ecosystem, two or three inputs they usually give is they are even tied to take a stand. For example, Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh is a very powerful leader, and many people, quote the anecdote of him even stopping the changing of name from Gonda to Jayaprakash Nagar, even when Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Mayawati ji, and Nanaji Deshmukh wanted. So he's supposed to be a local strongman, a regional strongman coming from the Rajput community, and in all fairness, 2024 might be in many people's mind. But as an admirer of Modi ji, I hope some kind of posturing will be there, because we have seen wrestlers, protesting like this for months altogether. Maybe there are counterclaims. Some people claim, especially on the right, that the internal committee didn't find so. Brij Bhushan didn't go to Turkey. The minor didn't say it at first. I don't know the truth of the events, but some kind of posturing from the government needs to be done, and I hope Modi ji and our establishment will definitely be seeing these kind of very strong protest, and some kind of posturing from the government will definitely go a long way, because the wrestlers I don't think they have any other option. They have given it all. They have thrown every hat on the ring, and they are going the
And
full
that's
throttle.
what we must ask today, that for those who say, I think Sharda pointed this out on the program yesterday, Rahul, for those who say the wrestlers protests have been politicized, they're basically the political opposition, and I'll ask Mahima that in just a moment. There's a politician running the wrestling federation, so the politics is already there in sport, right? But Mahima, let me ask you, has the slew of opposition leaders that visited the wrestlers at their site, has that hurt the movement? Or, you remember the first time around when they sat in, and Sharda will remember this. Brinda Karat, who's a CPM politician, went to show solidarity, and she was told to get off stage. The wrestlers at that time said, "We don't want the politicians near us." This time, uh, oh, hang on, sorry, we just have an update. Can we just have this on our screen? Naresh Tikait has taken away the medals from the wrestlers. He seeks a 5 day time to try and resolve the issue. So at the moment, it looks like these medals will not be immediately immersed. What could happen in 5 days, we don't know. But please do go ahead, Mahima. Has the political solidarity hurt them more than helped them?
Good evening, everybody. It's indeed a moment of shame for every Indian, and I think there is so much that can be said. But I have tried to put the pain of my heart in these words that I scribbled this evening. It goes like this: हो रहा राज्य अभिषेक हुजूर आला का, अस्मिता बेटियों की यूं कुछ ली जाती है, तस्वीर बड़ी है राजा की करतूतों की, छोटी ही सही सच्चाई कब छिप पाती है. So you see, you cannot imagine a father living in denial of his daughter's plight. But you can well imagine a monarch, a scepter bearing monarch, living in denial of his subjects, plight of his subjects. And that's exactly what you see happening here. क्योंकि कल राजदंड की राजनीति शुरू हो गई है इस देश के अंदर 2 दिन पहले. So we have seen that, you see, the Sengol has been handed ceremoniously handed over to the Prime Minister. And he said months ago in the parliament, Ek akela sab par bhari. That is on show. That is at show here. That psychology, that psyche, that mentality of running the country is quite on show here. And I think all of us daughters, you see, we were very clear when he did not apologize for a slip of tongue when he said "Beti bachao, beti patao." I think we were very clear that those were just mere words that he had spoken, "Beti bachao, beti padhao," as a slogan when he came to power. Just as we saw the visual of his stadium yesterday, जहाँ पर खुद जल जो है वो exit of water was, he committed, Mr. Amit Shah committed, was there.
But Mahima, while being the
Jumlas everywhere.
Can I just ask you, while being the opposition to Narendra Modi, is your professional commitment, your professional role, it's not that of Sakshi, Malik and Vinesh Phogat, right? That's not their battle. That's your battle. Their battle is justice for the women in their fraternity. So if we make this battle also all about BJP versus Congress, what happens to these women?
Exactly. For the last 9 years, in fact, 9 years of silence, 9 years of deafening silence by the Prime Minister, silence on crimes against women, silence on injustice. When he said to Vinesh Phogat in that conversation where he said, "Meri beti nahi hai, aaj se Vinesh meri beti hai," there he also said another thing, jumlon ke to wo mahir hain. So he said that jeet ko kabhi sar pe chadhne mat do, haar ko man mein basne mat do. That is what he is doing. I mean, that's what the Congress and the entire opposition is trying to remind the BJP and Mr. Modi ki jeet ko sar pe chadhne mat do, वरना ये जनता है, चढ़ाना जानती है तो उतार भी देगी. But unfortunately, the BJP has turned a blind eye. You look at the Women and Child Development Minister. When the Silly Souls case happened, she fought tooth and nail, went an extra mile, filed defamation cases on the opposition leaders. But now when it is the daughters of this country fighting for their pride, she's silent, she's turned a blind eye. And Mr. Modi doesn't have a family. He's abandoned his family. So he doesn't understand the legacy that comes with these medals. It's an insensitive, I would say, cold-hearted monarch that we are dealing with here. And it's going to be a hard fight, Barkha. We are going to fight it with all our might.
But I will again say that's a political statement, and it doesn't. Let me take that to Gargi. In the meantime, can we please have the pictures? The latest from Haridwar is that farmers leader Naresh Tikait has taken away the medals. My producers are repeatedly telling me he's taken away the medals. I don't actually understand what that means. So maybe if I see the pictures, I will be able to understand what it means. I don't know if it means he's prevailed upon them to wait for 5 days. If we see the pictures, maybe we will understand a little better actually what's happening. But in the meantime, Gargi, do go ahead. You can see that the medals are now with Mr. Naresh Tikait. They're in his custody. Now, what's going to happen is actually there is going to be more charges now of this being a politically motivated movement, or the wrestlers being quote unquote pawns. But this is the latest. Mr. Tikait has the medals, and he's going to try and mediate this issue over the next 5 days. Gargi, go ahead.
Thank you for inviting me. See, I just heard to the Congress spokesperson, And it was so obvious that how she is politicizing, how she is calling a dharmadand to a rajdand, which was given to Mr. Nehru also. I don't want to even talk on that today because the topic is different, but Shri brought it, so I'll just give her a little rebuttal before we go to the restless thing. It was the same ash putting a ceremony, everything was done with Mr. Nehru, and it is a dharmadand. It stands for ethics and justice, which Congress does not believe in. And let me remind her of 1992 Ajmer Dargah rape and blackmail cases. Congress did not do they brushed it under the carpet. So they let her not be so moralistic on the shows, try to show a holier than thou attitude. Now, Barkha, I'm coming to the wrestlers issue. Personally, I always felt that no politician should head a sporting federation. That is my own opinion. No politician should. But this is not the first time. We have seen Praful Patel. We have seen Sharad Pawar. We have seen
Shukla.
Rajiv Shukla. Yes, Rajiv Shukla. So everybody has done that, because if you have politicians in sporting federation, there will be politics. So, and that is the sad part. And today what we see, it is sad, it is heartbreaking. And obviously, if Mr. Brij Bhushan Sharma, I don't hold anything for him. If he is guilty, he should be punished. But Barkha, the way the things happen, it seems that there is some kind of politicizing, because Dipender Huda was removed from the Haryana Federation. Haryana election is also coming. There was a tussle between Haryana wrestlers and wrestlers of the other part. If you remember the Sushil Kumar and Narsingh Yadav tussle. So all those things are also there. So there has been an FIR registered. PT Usha also said them, okay, you should have come to the IOA. Mary Com is in the 7-member panel. So we should trust there's an FIR. He has said, yes, if he's guilty, arrest him, punish him, hang him. I don't hold anything for him. But the thing is, he also deserves a fair investigation. But that investigation should have a pace. It should not be slow. I believe the police should do a fast-paced investigation. If you remember how this Haryana wrestlers, they were opposed to the selection process for being considered for the Asian Games, which the federation brought, the Wrestling Federation of India. They said no, and they had fixed a quota.
Okay.
One second. Initially, when they had complained about his handling of his work. But
I want to pick up.
I'm not saying that it did not happen. It has happened. Let him be punished. But there should be a fair investigation.
I want to pick up 2 points. Sorry, I'm interrupting you, but I want to ask Sharda and Ranjana, who have taken a very unequivocal position on this. Now we have some clarity. We know that Naresh Tikait has the medals. The medals have not been placed in the Ganga. Mr. Tikait has asked for 5 days' time. The wrestlers have said, arrest this man, otherwise they will be back in 5 days in Hardwar. Now, Sharda and Ranjana, I'll start with you, Sharda. What this is going to do is to give those who were already criticizing this protest the chance to say, see, it's all politics. Naresh Tikait has the medals. How can you say this is a people's movement? That's point one. Point two, after 5 days, if the government doesn't budge, and I don't think it will budge because it's shown no signs of budging, what happens?
We can only sort of predict what will happen is that the medals will go into the water. Let people say whatever they want to say. The situation is so badly polarized now into, this is politics, this is not politics. There have always been politics in sport. There is we must bring it up that there is actually a document sitting somewhere with the law ministry which says that no one in public office should hold a position in a sports federation. So if there is a genuine sense of actually that this government wants to do things for sports and the ministry is very proactive and it's the wrestlers who are being stubborn, why don't you push this through parliament and let's see how we'll do that. They're not even willing to arrest under the law. Or even forget arrest, as Yashowardhan Azad said yesterday in your program, at least call him in for questioning. The police are not even calling Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh for questioning. He's going to have a massive sort of...
But have the wrestlers weakened? I just want to read a comment that comes from one of the Mojo members to those who ask about politics. Can we blame the wrestlers for using strong optics to highlight their grievance if they're not heard despite spending so much time on the streets? But have the wrestlers hurt their cause by getting a figure like Naresh Tikait involved?
You're asking me?
I'm asking Ranjana now. Ranjana.
Okay, Barkha, look, if anybody who comes to support them is their own call, this is not something. Let's not really lose focus from the issue, and especially two political spokesperson from two political parties. Please don't. Sexual of sports girls by a person sitting in the authority who is a politician and who's a member of parliament, who's people's representative. So in this kind of a scenario, what have what these girls have done wrong, what the wrestlers have done wrong, if people are coming and supporting them out of, I think they should take these medal to every village of this country, and ask the people the question: our bodies are here to be exploited by a politician? Should he touch, feel, push, do all kinds of things to us? I mean, are we losing the point here? Are we only talking about the politics of it? Are we not talking about how many days they were sitting alone before anybody went to support them? How many days they were struggling by themselves? Should this not be a natural process of justice? Should it not be, when we have a law, should it not function? Should it not be? And then Mary Com or this or that. I think there is so much of political pressure these days. Everybody knows. If you speak, if you speak openly, if you speak frankly, if you are on the side of the truth, you will be targeted. You will be caught on this or the other issue. Everybody is knowing this. What are we closing our eyes from? Why is this becoming an issue of this politics, that politics? Okay, fine. Let the politics be there. Politics will always be there. But is sexual harassment not an issue in the country? Has these girls not been sexually harassed by this man? Has a minor not been harassed by? I mean, my questions are very direct. So please take these medals.
Let's
I
take
will
your question.
appeal to Mr. Tikait, take it to every farmer's home and ask them this question: what kind of
Okay.
justice these girls are
Okay,
getting?
let's bring the others in. Rahul, go ahead. Let Ranjana says, who cares about the politics? Take the medals to every home. There are 5 days. I literally believe all it will take is for the Prime Minister to make one phone call, make one public statement that we are disturbed that our sporting champions had to come to this. I know Sharda smiling. This is what I believe. I believe this would quell the crisis. I don't think it will happen because the government, for reasons that are not clear to me, have taken a position to invest in Brij Bhushan Charan Singh instead of these sporting champions. I am saying, to me, it doesn't matter what your politics is. I see this as a woman. I see women on the street. And I see women who probably the first time around did not allow politicians, and second time around felt alone, didn't feel they had the numbers, and they said, we need the support to mobilize. Rahul, go ahead.
Even the admirers of Modi ji, like me, we were all expecting when the Vrinda ji episode happened. We were all very delighted and supportive of the wrestlers, because they even not allowed a very senior leader like Vrinda Karat on stage. It was seen as if they are doing a very apolitical, righteous fight, and they have done their part. But for what we understand, or what I got to understand when I talked to some people, is that government is not going to budge, or government is not going to take any step. Rather, government would go with an attitude of not addressing is at least from the sources what we can understand. I really hope and wish and pray that if Prime Minister can really take, if there is a time for a master stroke, as Modi ji usually say, this is that time for the master stroke, where Modi ji can do some posture, find a new consensus, find a new balance. If there is a occasion for this, this is the right occasion. And I would never say we shouldn't abuse anybody's family, let alone our Prime Minister's family, or this is not an occasion for politicking. Yes, it has occurred political overturns, you can criticize, but unnecessarily blaming or bringing in family of the PM doesn't serve any cause, or bringing in other things doesn't serve any cause. And more importantly, as an admirer of PM and also of sympathetic to their cause, I hope more and more people from the sports fraternity, especially cricket and the other sports, do express solidarity towards them, because then it will really raise the awareness. I think we all know
Yeah.
at the end of the day it is about leverage. It is about more leverage you can pull in that can really cause change. That's the
Yeah.
reality of India, reality of the world.
Well, we are seeing some of the public figures in the sporting universe who have spoken: Sunil Chetri, Abhinav Bindra, we have Neeraj Chopra, and we've had most recently Anil Kumble. The cricketing universe in particular is their silence is conspicuous. I mean, it is deafening. All right, Mahima, you want to come in? Let me bring you in. I do want to ask you the same question. I know Ranjana answered it, but the Congress, as a party that has shown solidarity with the wrestlers, will also have to answer it. has this become, has the politics dwarfed what the wrestlers are going through? That is what concerns me. Has the party politics dwarfed what the issue is for the wrestlers, who are not concerned with who wins and loses in 2024? That's not their fight.
Before I come to that, it is audacious how Mr. Ishwar, doesn't cease to call himself an admirer of Modi ji, yet expects solidarity from their own fraternity. You see, I'm reminded of the old Hindi song, Jinhe Naaz Hai Hind Par Wo Kahan Hai. Because neither the sports persons have come nor the admirers of Modi ji have, nor is there any decline in their admiration of Modi ji, though their sisters are fighting tooth and nail for justice on the roads of India. But I was, prompted to say two, three things, Barkha, and I must just say that. You see, BJP representatives are missing from your show as they are missing from the action also. You were asking about politicizing. Right in the beginning, you said that it is headed by a political person. So the political aspect is inevitable.
The BJP has declined. The BJP has declined. We called a number of BJP spokespeople. I think they don't know what position to take. They haven't been mandated to take part in these
That
conversations. But
speaks
do
for
go ahead.
itself.
Yeah.
Because as somebody rightly pointed out, I think Ranjana ji rightly pointed out that they, or I think Mr. Ishwar also pointed out that they did not allow any political person to come to their protests in the beginning. That was a golden opportunity for the government. They were just meters away from the prime minister's residence. But a prime minister who did not, attend to his farmers sitting kilometers away from his residence for 1.5 years, and later comes and folds his hands and says, he was, of course, ashamed in his heart at least to say that we are reversing the laws, because we had been saying that all along. They called them Atankwadis, they called them separatists and whatnot. Today, Mr. Brij Bhushan Singh has badmouthed these girls. And I think it is high time that we leave our admirations and affinities and inclinations aside.
But you didn't answer my question. Can I briefly ask you to answer my question, and then I want Gargi to answer it? Are you comfortable with Mr. Tikait now being the mediator of this issue?
As I aptly said earlier, that there was a golden opportunity for the Prime Minister and his representative, somebody from the Ministry of Sports or Youth or somewhere, to go and talk to these girls, let alone a minister or a leader. Not even a worker of the BJP party ever went and met these, champions whose sweat and blood doesn't belong to the roads. It belongs to the grounds. It belongs to the Olympics that where they won medals for this country.
Okay, let me bring in Gargi.
And now you see the whole country become a dangal.
The whole country will become a dangal. Gargi? Can we unmute
Once
Gargi?
Before the 2024, am I audible? Yes.
Yes.
Barkha, I think the Congress wants the whole country to become a dangal before 2024, because when they see that electorally it is difficult to contest Modi, so create riot, create ruckus, create all those things. But I don't think it will work. I have said in the beginning also, if Mr. Brij Bhushan is guilty, yes, he should be punished. And I am for the women. But the way things have taken a turn, there it seems there is something of a political thing. And even Dipinder Hooda, doesn't he belong to a political party? Isn't there a clash between Dipinder Hooda? Hasn't his name come? So it also has to be seen. Brij Bhushan Sharma, I say he's an accused. Suppose he's an accused today, and even if he's guilty, but he should get a fair investigation. That's what I'm saying. And the investigation pace, yes, the police should pace up the investigation. It should not just go on and go on like many other cases. And Naresh Tikait coming in, yes, it again shows it is politicized. And when you are talking about the farmers' protest, the farm laws originally were proposed by the Congress. They did not want the APMC, and today we know in Maharashtra, the farmers have destroyed tomatoes because of APMC, the prices they were getting. Anyway,
let's have a separate program on the farm laws. Yeah,
criticizes what they want.
We're going somewhere else with this conversation. Yeah. So
Barkha, what is wrong? Barkha, what is wrong in Naresh Tikait coming in? I mean, the family elder always, if as a family elder, if he is feeling responsible, why don't others come in? Why? Who has stopped any strong BJP leader to come in? Anybody who can resolve the issue can come in. I don't see why Naresh Tikait is the family elder for them. Naresh Tikait has extended his support. I mean, they are farmers' children. And he has led the farmer movement. Can't you see a link between all this? So I don't see why. Who has stopped anybody else to come in between? Who has stopped Prime Minister from speaking? Who Who's saying that sports minister should not go on the spot, give them a little bit of comfort level, say that we are investigating or whatever? I mean, who has stopped police acting? I mean,
We lost you there, Ranjana, but I think
there
you're back.
Stand by you
Yeah.
is the wrong person, or is playing politics. How is that true?
So, Sharda, let me give you the last word. Do you agree with Ranjana that actually there was an open opportunity for anybody from the BJP to play the role of the family elder, right? There could have been somebody from the BJP who reached out. Like I said, the Prime Minister, it could have been, the Sports Minister, it could have been anybody else. So, why criticize or why raise questions around Naresh Tikait? Yet, I am a bit concerned that in all of this noise, what the wrestlers actually started to fight for will get lost. That is what concerns me. It concerns me as a woman that Brij Bhushan Saran will get away, because this will become some sort of tutu meme between all the political parties. And in all that noise, Vinesh Phogat and Sakshi, Malik and their tears and their heartbreak will be lost. So I want to give you the last word. But before you speak, look at these images. I mean, look at these medals. These are the medals that could go into the water. The crisis isn't over yet. Sharda Ugra, the last word to you.
I think athletes here have understood, at least these athletes and everyone watching them has understood that what they actually stand for in this country today. The fact that you had your medalists going and saying we're going to immerse our medals in the water. I think athletes everywhere have understood the message that has gone out to millions of families who want their daughters to go into sport is also being sent on a daily basis. So we mustn't forget that the consequences of what this is are beyond the politics and, who's great and who's not great. And you're right, anyone could have come and supported them. Margdarsha Mandal, whoever, could have stood up for and offered solace to them and said, listen, let's find a way in this. But the problem is that all the blame is being put upon on the victims of this abuse. The blame is not being put up. They are being treated like the criminals. They have FIRs lodged against them for rioting. The blame is not being put on the person who's accused of having committed a crime against these young people and against them.
And as someone said, one of our Mojo members, Debashish Das, says at least someone has come to the rescue. At least someone has come to rescue the medals. Otherwise, they would be drowned in the Ganga by now. Now, before we close, I just want to remind everybody that there was one other time, a very, very famous global reference where you saw a sporting icon. Can we actually bring those pictures up? We're talking, of course, Sharda, you would know this, about Muhammad Ali. Right? When Muhammad Ali threw his gold medal into the Ohio River to protest racism. So this has been used as an instrument of protest before. We hope it doesn't happen. Are you hopeful at all, Sharda, that Mr. Tikait could mediate some sort of resolution, or as Rahul believes that the Prime Minister might yet intervene? Are you hopeful?
Not exactly, because I've seen that sportsmen are basically cheap currency for politicians to play around with when they need to win votes, and politicians, the market, celebrity, everybody to hang around it. When it comes to justice, it's very tough for them to get it. I'm not.
Well, it would have been extremely tragic had this evening ended with those medals in the river. I think Rahul and Gargi may disagree with the politics of Mahima, but I think all five of us can agree with that this day did not end in that tragedy, and that travesty is something we should draw some sort of sense of respite from, provided that there is something that moves in the next 5 days to contain this crisis, because otherwise, as Sharda Ugra said, she fears that these medals of our champions will go into the water. And not just would that be a terrible day for sport, it will also be a terrible day for Indian women. Because remember, at the heart of what we're talking about is sexual harassment, sexual abuse. What is the message you will give to young girls who are seeking to build a life in sport? Think about that this evening. Thank you very much to our panel and to our audience. See you tomorrow.
We started Mojo right here in this basement. Just 4 people, 4. And now we're about to hit our first 1 million subscribers. So this is to say thank you to all of you for your support, for your respect, and for your encouragement. We've always gone to where the story is. During the pandemic, when television's big anchors were hunkered down in their studios or at their homes, we hit the road. We traveled from Delhi to Kerala, covering 30,000 kilometers in our small car, reporting from inside ICUs and inside slum tenements. Whether it's flash floods or war zones, we've always put our boots on the ground. In fact, we're just back from Punjab, tailing the Khalistani fugitive Amritpal Singh. And through all of this, we have always put you, the people, first. In an age of partisan polarized media where most journalists are either chamcha ya morcha, we believe the story is sacred and the truth of the story is what matters. And now as we get ready for the next step, we need your help. Become a Mojo member and get first access to all our big interviews. Get a chance to ask our newsmakers questions. Get a chance to write and report for us for both our website and our channels. And also, interact with me and my colleagues directly through AMA sessions. Literally, ask me anything. Click on the join now right next to the subscribe button, and yes, also subscribe if you haven't yet, and become a Mojo member for just 159 rupees a month. Hope to see lots of you in our community.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.